everyone, Maury Curtis Dunbar here at Painted Studios. I've been gone for a minute because I was teaching this week and now I'm back. So today we are working on some Valentine's projects. Valentine's less than a month away. I know everybody's looking for fun, interesting, romantic kind of gifts to create. And obviously in the time of COVID where you might not have a job, you want to do something a little economically friendly too. So we are definitely working with that in mind. Hey Renee, nice to see you, and Susan, thanks for popping in. All right, I am going to flip my camera down. We're not going to dilly-dally today. No chatting. So in front of me, whoops, I flipped a little too far. In front of me you see wooden hearts, and we'll discuss the inspiration for this first. Many years ago, my sister gave me this. It says, "Hey Heather," this says, "I love you," and on the other side it says, "Forgivingly." Now, the funniest part about that is that she actually meant to get me one that said "regretfully." We used to kid each other a lot as teens and early 20s that we loved each other, but God help us, we're sorry that we did. So she meant to get "regretfully" and actually got "forgivingly." And the gal who used to make these and the guy who sold these have both left this planet for many, many years now. And I've always wanted to reproduce the ornaments that this lady made. My friend Joel Cobb, who owned Joel Cobb Inc. when I was a kid. He was a frustrated Broadway dancer and owned the most glorious shop with his family. And if Emily Ward happens to pop up and see this, she'll recognize this shape. We are also, so now we're going to do something similar. I carry the wooden hearts. They're a little bigger just because I couldn't remember how big these were. So I went with a 6-inch size, which is a little easier to handle. Just to let everybody know, we're going to come up with some other shapes soon because, like I said, I can't get the original maker for these. So they're both past. So I'm going to start making. We're going to have these mushroom shapes. We're going to have this German gingerbread shape eventually. We're going to do more mushrooms. We'll even have Easter eggs. But I think these are just, the mushrooms are so cute and so different. And literally, they used to put the dates on the back of these, and these were all done in the 70s. This one says 75. This one says 73. And they used to personalize them and date them and do all these wonderful things. And I thought, let's start with the hearts because these are so cute. So the first thing I did is I got a wooden heart. And just so you know, when you order these, make sure to check the back because there's actually contact paper on these to secure them for cutting and keep them from splintering. And so you'll see this on the back. When I painted this one the first time, I didn't notice the paper because it blended in so well and it had the laser singeing around the edges. I painted it on and then I'm like, why is it bubbling? Because it's paper, you big dork. So I peeled it off and right here you can see the seam where there was no paper versus where there's paper. So I'm very proud of myself for how smart I am sometimes. All right, so the first heart here, we painted with basic red set coat. My colors for my original ornaments, they're old. They've yellowed. This white is off-white because it's yellowed. I guarantee you the red is a little dulled because it's, 40 years old, at least. And, so they just change colors. They just color over time. And I'm sure the gal, when she was painting it, wasn't thinking about that the colors might change in 40 years. So we're going to do this. And I've already done a heart, so we're prepped, but I just want to show you how the set coat goes on. I tend to paint in the heart shape so that, as opposed to with the wood grain, because that can create a streakiness or a striping that isn't conducive with whatever pattern I'm going for. And then I let this dry, because it will pop the grain just a little bit, sand it lightly, coat it again. And I do both sides and the edges. So we're going to set that to the side right now. You don't need to watch me paint something else red again. And we're going to start with our little heart here. Now, it has to face me because I have to do things in a way that I can make my arm move and write things. But I am going to zoom you in just a little, I think. See if I can get you to zoom in. Nope, I just flipped it around so that it's facing the light. Now it won't flip back. Oh, come on, fellas. Give me something here. There we go. Let's see if I can get this to, there we go. Now, I'm going to literally be mimicking these patterns, and my skills on this, if you look over here, I gave it a little practice before I came on, but my skills aren't 100% fab. So just so you understand what we're dealing with. Actually, we're going to hold off on this a second because I have a larger heart to paint and I need to do the striping on it first. I just realized that I have timing issues that I have to pay attention to. All right, so I'm going to fold this red back so I don't accidentally get any on my white heart. These all come plain wood, as you saw. This is our 12-inch heart, and I'm going to zoom back out a little bit so you can see it a little better. This is our 12-inch heart, so here's the 12-inch versus the 6-inch. I almost forgot what I was doing today, and then it would have screwed up all my timing. So I saw this kind of technique. It was inspired by something else I saw, so I kind of adapted it for what I'm doing here. So I'm going to take some tape, and we're going to create stripes. Now I have to turn this way so I can see if I've got it straight. Sorry about that for everybody else who's watching. I want that one square in the center there, and I want that as centered as humanly possible up here. Oh, it's not centered. I can feel the little divot, so I want to make sure I get it as close to straight as possible. And it won't be perfect because I'm not measuring it. So if you've ever wondered how to make stripes on something, tape is your friend. So your tape width can help you measure out stripes. And I'm just going with a basic width right now. I'm just using a 2-inch tape, and I'm going every other stripe and keeping it very simple. And I started in the center so I'd have my stripes even on both sides of the heart. And when I start pulling tape, this will make a little more sense for those who've never done this technique. I need to save that. Didn't tear it quite long enough. Now, if I was really being OCD, I'd have all of this stuff clipped tidily along the edge. That's not going to happen. That's not how my brain works. Okay, so I've got that done, and I just need to get that one. And you're butting the edges of the tape against each other. You're not overlapping. All right, so now I've got all of that taped off, and I have to pull for stripes. So I'm going to take out one, and I'm going to take out, not two. I was going to pull two if I'm not careful, because it wants to pull an extra piece of tape. Two. And three. Now I'm just going to tuck these little floppy bits under so that they're not sticking to my clothing and stuff. I'm running my fingers over the edges because I don't want bleeding. So it's not just enough to tape. You've got to rub the edge of your tape down Otherwise, it will bleed under. All right, I've got that set. Now I need to make my paint. As you can see, I have paint already poured in a pan. It's both of them are the same color. One of them we're going to tint. And we are using Faux Effects Set Coat Metallic Snow. Now, the white of Metallic Snow, it's very, very subtly pearly. You won't even see it on camera because it's not easy to see even in person. So it's a very super delicate pearly white, but I also like that it has terrific coverage. Now, the other thing I'm going to do with it is I need pink. And I didn't have any pink set coats on my shelf that I liked for this, so I'm going to make my own. And I'm using Faux Effects Faux Color, which is not the same as Faux Cream Color. Faux Color has no binders in it. It's more like ink and less like paint than Faux Cream Colors. Let me check this before I give it a squirt so it doesn't go everywhere, to make sure that it's an open cap, because every once in a while I get a hold of something that the cap is, there's still the plastic thing in there. Yep, it's in there. I knew it was. See that little piece of plastic that's used to seal up a bottle? I knew it was still sitting in there. And the reason I'm using this versus another colorant is very simple. French red faux color does not come in the same color in Faux Cream Color. They have a French red. They also call it Indian. No, they don't call it Indian red. It's Rouge Royale, they call it, and it's much more maroony. And quite frankly, it looks like the old Indian red crayons. And I love the color, but it's much more maroon and a lot less pink when you put it in paint. So I wanted something that was going to read very pink when I mixed it with my paint. And French red does. True red reads a little orangey when you mix it up. You get more of a peachy kind of red, a peachy kind of pink, which was something I never liked, even as a kid. When I wanted pink, I wanted it to be pink. I didn't want this half pink stuff. So the French red has a slightly bluish cast in here, which gives us a very pretty pink. And you see, I've put quite a bit of colorant in it, but because it's a white paint, it's going to take some color to change the color. I want a little deeper pink than that. There we go. I'm slopping into the other compartment. Get it nice and mixed up. So we had a wonderful class this week. Just the gal who took the class with me, took her class, lovely local principal on one of the schools. Just a really nice class, and I haven't had a class in here for, a while. So having the class was really, with somebody who's so kind, was just a great way to jump back into the fray. That's what I wanted. Sorry, pulling out brushes. All right, so I've mixed my pink. Now, if you have questions and I miss it because the camera's angled down and I can't read it from where I am, please know I come back, read the questions, and answer them. All right, so now that I've got my white on here, I've created my pink. We're just going to paint the stripes pink. And again, because there's metallic in here, my final brush strokes, even though you probably won't see it, all my final brush strokes are going in the same direction, so I don't flip the metallic particles and have the color read strangely. I think I'll just get the edges here where this color comes over the edge. Now I'll probably do the back of this one some way or another, because as you know, you never seem to hang these things without seeing the back, and the backs aren't always pretty once you finish painting the other side. gonna set this into our hot box. Give me just a second to put this in to dry. I'll be right back. Oops, I'm gonna get that edge. Go. Oops, I'm pulling things over as I walk by. We're going to let that paint set up a little bit, and then we're going to work on our little red heart. Let's fold back the paper so I don't get pink paint where I don't want it. I can grab my painted red heart that's sitting here, and I'm going to use this guy for a model. Now, like I said, while I've been practicing, this has not ever been my particular gift. So let's see how I do, quite frankly. Let's wish, say a little wish and a prayer. I'm using a liner brush because I need the flexibility of a longer tip, and we're gonna see how I do. All right. I'm like afraid to do this right now. I think my brush might be a little big for what I'm doing, but it'll work. If any of you are toll painters, this is your kind of gig, because you'll love this. I, however, am not, and so it's a little challenging. The other part of this is she was right-handed, I'm left-handed, so I'm copying patterns going in the other direction. Now, I probably won't write forgivingly on mine, but I might write something like blissfully, adoringly, happily, tentatively, creatively. I'm gonna, I have word options. All right, so I'm going with a smaller liner brush because those bristles were too big and I wasn't getting as fine a line as I wanted. So now I'm coming in with a different brush. All right, let's turn this upside down. Ooh, I just stuck my finger in that one. Nice, Maury, you're a genius. So I'll have to touch that spot up there. My hand slipped right across it. I knew that was gonna happen as I was doing this, because why? Because I'm on camera and you all are watching me. Okay, let's try this. Now as I get doing this more, I get faster. But honestly, I'm not that fast with this, especially when I'm copying something else. I might need even a finer brush than this one. Now I have taken some toll painting classes. I'm just not as good at it as some people are. I don't have that swish of the brush stroke down that I see so many really, really gifted toll painters have. I'm trying, not there. Probably not using the brush they would recommend either. Not perfect by a long shot, but worth the first try. I'm not too upset. This is, and if you look over here, this shape is one I've been practicing, and I'm struggling with it. It's something about the way it goes that my hand doesn't. I don't lift it well enough, something. I haven't got it, but if I keep doing this, I will get it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is paint all the exterior decorations, let it dry, then come in, write the lettering, and then you do this part to see how it fits. You don't do this little bit until you get the lettering in, and you need all the outside decorations done so you know how your lettering will fit. All right, let's see if I can do this side, since it was not as successful as I'd hoped over on the other side. Okay. A little better shape on those two little fish swim, goldfish body looking shapes. Looks like other stuff too, but I you know, this is a family show, so we're not going to go there. See if I can do it this way and get a little better. Nope. Doesn't want it that way. Not at least the way my hand works. It's better than that side. Doing a little better. Glad to see that. It's nice to know I can improve. Let's do the dot. Let's do the small comma shape. Let's do the larger one. Okay, so clearly my issue is that I can't do that shape as easily. I'm doing all right with the others. Good things to learn. I may embellish these designs a little more to fit my aesthetic, and because I made this shape a lot bigger, it might need to have a little more that fills it in. But so here we're starting right now. I think that's very, very cute. And you can see how it's similar to what I've got here. Yes, I am just painting with paint today, Desiree. I've got Set Coat Metallic Snow in both of these that I tinted, and I tinted one of them with faux color French red. And that's all we're working with. We're not working with foils, we're not working with adhesives, we're not working with any other paints today. We are only working with Set Coat because this is a fun project that you don't need a whole lot of stuff for. All right, so let me go get the other heart out of the box and we'll work on that one. Okie dokie. Pull this over. Let's move some things out of the way because it's a little bigger, and I really would like to not crap this up more than once today. So we're going to set that over there. I want to check and make sure that's dry before I put the white on there. And we're going to peel our tape back. Now again, if you notice, I don't pull my tape straight up. Even though this is fairly dry, I want to roll it back parallel with the surface. It cuts a nice clean edge and keeps the tape from pulling up the paint. And if you have a few bleeds, which I do, I have a little tiny bleed here and there, Probably won't show after I'm done, but if I needed it to, if I need to, I can come back and touch this up. It's not that big a deal. But if I hadn't burnished my tape, oh man, would those bleeds be ugly. Okay, so I've got my cute little pink striped heart. It's very pretty, I love it. But we're gonna do this. First I'm gonna turn it that way so y'all can see what I'm doing. We're gonna play with a stencil over it. Okay, this is a stencil I think from Sherry Zeman Faux Design Studio. If you like it, let me check to make sure I'm not lying. I'm reading it upside down. Yes, Sherry Zeman Studio from Faux Design Studio. So if you like this stencil, I can bring it in for you. You just have to let me know because it's a special order. It's a huge one. It does not come in smaller sizes. All right, so I've got my stencil here. Now comes the fun part. We're gonna play with a couple different colors. First, we're gonna start with the white. And I have my stencil brushes. These are the stencil brushes I carry. They're from Artistic Painting Studio. They are truly some of the best stencil brushes I've ever used. And we're going to stencil the white over the pink, paying attention to where the lines are. That it'll matter, because if I go over the lines right now with the white, all it's going to do is hit white. And you can see I'm swirling it, not pouncing it. I don't like to pounce. It's hard on the brush, it's hard on my hands, and it doesn't necessarily accomplish anything for me. So I swirl it. And then as I do the other two two stripes, then I'll probably come back and put a little more on each of white on each one of them to make the pattern a little more distinct when we lift the stencil. And I keep going in and checking to make sure my stencil's tacked down. I sprayed a little adhesive on here. I just used regular old Elmer's spray adhesive, sprayed it on, let it dry for at least 5 minutes before I put it on my paint surface, because then the glue is dry enough to act like a tacky surface, but not so wet that it will leave me gummy, gooey deposits on my surface. And that's really what happens. If people want to use spray adhesive and then they put it on the surface too fast, and they're upset because they have a deposit left, and that's why you have a deposit left, because you didn't let your adhesive dry long enough. Okay. A little more white. A little more opaque in the white. That. And we'll get that on there. Now, if I wanted to load this brush up with another color, and I would not wash it out, because if this brush is wet, you can't stencil with it. It just will seep water everywhere and it'll leak under your stencil and you won't be happy. So what I would do would be to take a paper towel. Where's the paper towel? I have tons of paper towel over here. Take paper towel and offload it. Meaning I would take my brush and scrub as much paint out of it as I could possibly get so that I could use it with the next color and not deposit the first color back on the surface where I didn't want it. So that's what I'm doing here. We're going to offload all of this white, and then we're going to go into the pink. Again, I'm going to get it on the tips. I'm going to offload it over here on the side of my paper, and then we're going to come back in and go carefully along the stripes. Now, if I really wanted to go crazy, I could have done a different stencil pattern on every single stripe. I've seen that done, and I love it. But I figured for the first time we're doing this, I'd go easy on you and we just stay with one stencil and two colors. So I'm coming back in here, cleaning up my line a little bit to make sure that it goes all the way through the whole pattern. There we go. Catch all these edges and make sure they're nice and clean and sharp if I can make them that way. Go. And yeah, this is going to look very cute, I hope. I never know how anything's going to look until I pull the stencil up. I'll know if I did a crappy job or a nice job. And trust me, I have done some really crappy jobs, and I've done them on camera, where I just had to hang my head and say, see, look, this is what it looks like when you screw up. Almost done. So I'm brushing straight when I get to the edge of the line, just so I can make sure I got a clean edge. And then I come back in and swirl a little bit. And yes, I am painting with both my hands today, because this kind of stuff, believe it or not, I can do ambidextrously. When I used to do rooms, I could increase the amount of trim that I could cut in if I taught myself how to do it with both hands. And I was always pretty ambidextrous as a kid. So I taught myself to do a lot of this stuff two-handed so that I could get up and down the ladders less times. And honest to God, that's really what it was about, is me not having to get on the ladder so much, up and down off the ladder. Because that was a big deal. You know, it still is. It takes a lot of your work time getting up and down and up and down and up and down off the ladders. And it takes as much time to do that as it does to do the painting. You gotta move the ladder, shift it around, you know, all of that stuff. So I taught myself to paint two-handedly so I could get down up and down fewer times. I can trowel a lot too with two hands. I can't do fine painting, you know, I can't do details, I can't letter with two hands, but I can do pretty well with just cutting a straight line. Okay, I think we're about ready. Let me get a little more pink on that side. This looks a little too light over here. Probably because it mixed in with a little of the white. Alrighty, let's pull this stencil. Let's hope I didn't screw it up. Set that to the side. And here we go. Oh, that's cute. I have some serious bleed right there. But the whole idea is adorable, so I need to pull out some Q-tips, clean up my bleeds. Let's see, where did I put my Q-tips? And the bleeding can happen when you're using very creamy paint as opposed to like a stencil paint that is a paste. It can happen because it bleeds under. I had my brushes were probably too loaded with paint. That happens. Okay. And I can just come back in with a paintbrush later and clean up anything that I don't want to see. If I got any light hazes, which I will from wiping this stuff off. And as you can see, I'm working with really tiny Q-tips. Where did I just put them? I do this all the time. Something about this jar of Q-tips means I set it down and then I lose it every single time I use them. But these are made by Muji. They are super tiny. I can't believe I just set them down and I can't find them again. I'm sure that they're probably somewhere everybody else is seeing but me, because I'm a genius for doing that. All right, so I'm going to set that aside. I'll continue to clean it up in a minute. We have this heart, and then we have our little heart here. So I think these are very cute. Now I'm going to clean this up. I'll probably freshen up all of these shapes a little. I might go back in over them with my hand painting. I often do stuff like that personally. Sometimes I just use stencils as a guideline, not as the final look, because I don't think I'm not gonna be happy with this until I fix it a little bit more. But I love this idea. I mean, this is so cute, and these are so cute. I mean, think of how cute this is gonna be hanging, giving somebody one of these with flowers or little candy. How cute an idea is this? All right, so these wooden hearts will be up on the website later today. They're not up yet. I just opened the package right before I did the lives, long enough to paint them white and red and then come live with you. All right, everybody, thank you for coming by with me today. Thank you for coming back to me after I've been gone for a week because I was teaching. And I will see you next Tuesday. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.